Yummy food, I'm in the kitchen, what's the perfect way to eat? Woohoo! Have you ever asked that question? There's got to be a perfect diet, there's got to be a perfect eating plan. How do you get the best nutrition? What do I have to do to eat the right way so that I get the result that I want? And there's two parts to that. Could the last part be more important than how? What result do you want from your eating and exercise plan? And obviously, as an exercise professional, as somebody who gives advice about eating and exercise, shouldn't that be the most important question? What do you want to get out of your eating and exercise plan? So is it, I want a top performance for my sport. I want a stack of energy. I want to look good in the mirror. I want to feel good. I want my body to feel good. There's a certain result that I want to get. Surely that's the most important question. And then we work backwards from, if this is the result that you want, how are we going to get that result for you? So a lot of people say, well, that person's got the perfect body. I want to look like that, so I'm going to eat what they eat. Interesting question though. If we take 100 people, 1,000 people, even 100,000 people, and we put them all on exactly the same eating plan, with exactly the same exercise plan, they eat the same number of calories, they do the same kinds of exercise, they eat all the same foods, would they look the same? And of course the answer is no, because we've got different genetics, we've got different metabolisms, there's differences between men and women. So how do you know what's going to work for you, and why do we rely on other people to tell us what to eat? I'm an adult, you're an adult, why would we allow another adult to say this is what you should eat? I never have and I never will, because there's foods that I like to eat that other people say are bad foods. There's foods that I don't like to eat that people say are good food and you have to eat them. Well, I'm not going to ever waste calories on foods that I don't like. How about you? And I'm never going to not eat the foods that I love. I've seen too many people completely screw up their mental health because they really want to eat something, they don't have it, so they feel angry and annoyed and frustrated that they can't have it, or they do have it and then they feel guilty because they had it. And to me, that's a very stressful way to live, and I don't want to live my life like that. So I love the philosophy of eat what you love, don't eat what you don't like, eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full. But how do you make that work for you? How do you put your body into a position where that would actually work? And what is the perfect body for you? If we pick 10 people and you say those people have got a perfect body and we line them up in front of you, would you be able to tell what those people eat? So would you be able to say that person's a vegan vegetarian, that person's a carnivore, that person doesn't eat carbohydrate or a very small amount of, that person always eats after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that person never eats after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that person eats 3 times a day, that person eats 5 times a day, that person is glucose intolerant, lactose intolerant, gluten intolerant. There's a whole heap of things that affect our eating plans. Would you be able to tell by looking at somebody's body? And of course the answer is no, because we've all got a unique and different body. We've got anatomy and physiology that's the same across the human race, but now we've got different lifestyles, we've got different stress levels, we've got different ways that we sleep, different times of the day that suit us to eat. We've got different endocrine systems that tell us eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, drink because you're thirsty, go to sleep because you're tired. All of our endocrine systems tell us different things because your hormones are going to make your life better or awesome or amazing because your body's designed to perform at its very best. But your performance at your very best is going to be different to mine. Our ages make a difference. There's so many things that add up differently when it comes to eating and exercise. So how do you know what's going to work for you? And even if you think that those people, those beautiful, gorgeous bodies, they look amazing, I'm going to eat like them because they look just, wow, look at their bodies, ripped abdominals, tight butt cheeks, they look fantastic, I'm going to eat like them. I've got a classic example for that. I went to a bodybuilding competition, and the final at the end of the evening was the men's open, and there was 2 men that looked exactly the same. They couldn't tell the difference. It took ages of pose downs and pose again and turn and double bicep and back bicep, and it just kept going on and on and on and on because the judges couldn't decide who had the better body. Finally, they made a decision. And I'm always interested in how did you do that? So I go and talk to both the guys, who one was obviously very disappointed because he got second, because he looked exactly the same as the other guy. They were the same height, they had the same width of shoulders, the same length of legs, they looked identical. One guy's eating plan, this is so interesting, he was a vegan vegetarian, so he didn't eat anything that came from an animal whatsoever. He got all of his protein sources from the ground, But interestingly, if you get your protein source from the ground, it also means that you're getting you're eating carbohydrate, predominantly 90 to 100% carbohydrate. The other guy had a high protein diet. He took lots of different supplements. He had a traditional bodybuilding diet, but they ate completely differently, even though they looked exactly the same. They weren't related. They weren't the same culture. They weren't the same nationality, but they looked exactly the same. So here's a better question. What's going to work for you and what's going to fit into your lifestyle, not let's do what somebody else is doing? Because I've been asked that many times, and if you're an exercise professional, I'm sure that you have too. Rowie, just tell me what to eat. Rowie, just tell me how to exercise. I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. Well, of course, there's a real challenge with that, because if I'm not there, if your exercise professional, your coach is not there, who are you going to get advice from? Should we know for ourselves what suits us best? I think that's a really great place to start. And what about eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, eat all the foods that you love, don't eat the foods that you don't like? That's your choice. Then what do you want the outcome to be? And it's really interesting now, because it seems that the experts are finally starting to come around. Rather than eat this, do this, exercise at this time, do this many steps, eat these many calories, take these supplements, the people that actually work with people, so the experts, the psychologists, psychiatrists, the exercise physiologists, the coaches, the scientists that are working with real people, have really decided that ultimately the only thing that works is the thing that you do. And I'll put that into perspective. I'm sure you've heard people say this. I've tried every diet, but it didn't work. Is it that the diet didn't work, or that you didn't stick to the diet? Now, I agree. If you can't stick to the diet, it's a stupid diet. If you can't do it for the rest of your life, why would you bother with such a thing? So if you can do something for the rest of your life, so you can be healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic for the rest of your life, what do you need to do to make that happen? And ultimately, that doesn't come from somebody telling you what to do. It doesn't come from a restrictive diet. It doesn't come from an eating plan that doesn't suit your lifestyle. You have to work out what works best for you, and that's different for everybody, because we all have different lifestyles, different jobs, different sleeping patterns, different stress levels. We're all different. So ultimately, wouldn't it be really nice to know? I like to go the reverse, because I would never tell somebody what to eat, and I never have. People ask me what I eat. It doesn't matter what I eat. I'm healthy, fit, strong, lean, and energetic, and I love my life. But what I eat is different than what you could, because there's foods that I like that you don't like. So how about this? If you're really fit and if you're really strong, and to me that's the ultimate fundamental basic. How fit are you and how strong are you? And are you getting fitter and stronger? If you're not fit and strong, that means your endocrine system, your hormones don't work either. They're unfit, they're out of shape, they're screwed up. If you can get your hormonal system unscrewed, it will tell you when to eat. Isn't that exciting? Rowie, you're hungry, go eat some food. Rowie, you're full, stop eating. And if you listen really carefully to your body, and this is the thing that really excites me, your body will tell you what you need. It's like when you're thirsty, you've got to get some liquid into your body because you're thirsty. Drink something because you're thirsty. But if you listen really carefully, and if you're really fit and really strong, and your endocrine system's working effectively, you'll hear yourself say, I feel like salad. I feel like some vegetables. I feel like a steak. I feel like some fruit. When you say, I feel like it, your hormones are telling you, bloody eat that, woman, because that's what you need. The other thing that's really exciting, because we always talk about superfoods and these are the best foods to eat and you have to have these foods included in your diet. When you cut it down to the absolute fundamental basics, all food is made from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and if it's protein, it's also got nitrogen. And ultimately, if you take in more carbon than you breathe out, because that's how you get rid of excess out of your body, is you breathe out carbon. Isn't that interesting? If you eat more carbon than you breathe out, it's got to store somewhere, and fat is made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, so you'll store it as fat. So ultimately, it's the fundamental breakdown. What you eat doesn't matter as long as you're getting carbons, hydrogen, and oxygens, which is all food. And then micronutrition, because that's macronutrition. Micronutrition is vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and fiber. If you have a look at eating for performance, if most of what you eat either grows under the ground, on the ground, in a tree, or runs on the ground, or a combination of all of those, and those foods haven't been screwed with by chemicals, artificial flavorings, haven't been screwed with by humans, basically. And I use that, this is an example all the time. Rowie, what should I eat? If I read the label, what should the label say? How about this? Eat less foods with labels. Eat some real food. For your mental health, eat all the foods that you love. Don't eat any of the foods that you don't like. And if you don't feel good, you've got to change some things. So if you're not performing at your best, you don't have a stack of energy, you don't like the way your body feels, or when you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see, and you're not getting the result that you want, then obviously you've got to change some things. But not have somebody tell you what to change. Surely you need to decide that for yourself. And again, if you're really fit and really strong, isn't it exciting that your body will tell you? You don't need to eat this packet of chips or this bag of lollies or this full packet of chocolate biscuits, because logically we know that that's not going to make us feel good. Emotionally it might, but not logically. So if you want to be the person that eats logically, not emotionally. So if you're eating emotionally, it's because you're angry or you're frustrated or you're annoyed or you're unhappy or you're depressed. But if you eat logically, you eat because you're hungry and you really enjoy it. And all of that comes from having a healthy endocrine system. If you're in control of your hormones, not your hormones controlling you, you won't eat because you're angry, you'll eat because you're hungry. And then you'll stop eating when you're full. If your hormonal system's screwed up because you're not healthy, fit and strong, then you'll eat because you're emotional. So now you don't stop eating when you're full, you just keep eating because it's there, because it's the whole packet, because it's the whole jar, I just have to keep eating. And I don't want that for anybody, because I've seen too many people's headspaces screwed up. So rather than what do I eat, how much do I eat, when do I eat, how many calories, do I have to have carbohydrate or not? Carbohydrate's going to kill me versus I've got to have it, otherwise my body won't work. How about this? Get really fit and get really strong and listen to your body. I'm going to say that again. Get really fit, which is get puffed to get fit, lift heavy to get strong. That gives you a body that works effectively. And then your hormonal system will work effectively. So you'll eat when you're hungry, you'll stop eating when you're full. Eat all the foods that you love, don't eat the foods that you don't like. Eat less foods that have been screwed with by humans. And if you really want to live your life to the max, live every day in exactly the same way. Not because it's boring or average, but why would you want to be on a diet today and then not on a diet tomorrow? I'm having my cheat day today, but tomorrow somebody's told me what I have to eat. Why not eat the same way every day? And I'll share it again. The same way every day. Eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, eat all the foods you love and don't eat the foods that you don't like, so that every time you come into the kitchen, it's a really wow experience, not can't have, mustn't have, don't have. It's bad for me. Nothing's bad for you, and I'll share that again because I always do. If you haven't eaten for 3 weeks and you're about to die and you come across a bag of sugar and you eat that sugar, you won't die. If you come across a carton of beer and you drink that, you won't die. If you come across some sausages and you eat those, you won't die. Doesn't matter. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is what food is made of. It's also nitrogen if it's protein. No food is bad for you, because if it's going to keep you alive, it can't possibly be bad for you. So rather than getting caught up in all the hullabaloo, as my mother used to say, how about this? Live your life to the max, eating all the foods that you love, and enjoy every single day. Every time you come into the kitchen, live your life to the max. Yeah, woohoo! Super-duper-doo. How are you living my life to the max? Yeah.